these are my A2 students, so they're in the final year of Biggin School. Do you want to say hello? This is Ian.
Hi.
So, hi, Ian. So, basically, they've made a pop promo, and now they have to make a advertisement that sells the CD cover, the digipack, and also they have to create a digipack. So they've got 3 products: their pop promo, their digipack, which is the CD cover, and an advertisement in a magazine to sell the digipack. And we need to know about branding to understand how, when they create these different elements, they can create a sense of synergy between all 3 elements. So Daniel here is going to ask you a couple of questions.
Right.
And it's just, simple, whatever time you've got.
Just so you know, the line's breaking up a little bit as you're talking, so just try and be as clear as you can. I can't hear very well. So, so it's not too bad at the minute.
Yeah, oh, right, okay. We'll speak loudly because you're quite far away on the computer. So we'll speak loudly. Right, guys, that means no chatting and just big stay quiet and Daniel speaking loudly. Yeah, okay.
So next week.
Alright, off you go.
First question.
Daniel got to
Go. What is branding?
Don't put me on the spot. Okay. Okay. I'll give you a quote that someone else said that wasn't me. Branding is what someone says about you when you've left the room. How about that? It's basically your personality. It's how you act. It's how you behave. It's what you say. So if you think of brands as people, and you think of a particular person, and you know how they, you know what they like, what they like, what they don't like, what music they would listen to, what they wouldn't listen to. If you think about brands in that way, that's really what they are. You're building a personality and an emotional attachment to something. So the quote I just said came from Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon. And yeah, if it's what people say about you when you've left the room. So that's the best definition I think I've heard of branding.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. How important is typography in creating a sense of continuity with products?
Well, you're asking the right person. Very.
He loves his
Very.
typography.
Because you're imagine that like I've just said to you, it's like your personality. So your typography is like your handwriting, basically. Selecting the right typeface is really, really, really important because typefaces inherently come with a lot of personality. Choose the wrong one, it'll look silly. So, if you were trying to sell a premium product and you chose a cowboy style typeface, like the ones you might get, then you'd know immediately it was wrong, it would feel wrong. It gets much subtler at the brand level, but in principle you have to choose the right sort of type that has the right kind of personality for the product that you're selling. And it's really important to then use that consistently because people recognize your handwriting. So if you keep changing it, then you're sending out mixed messages.
So you're saying that typography has to be consistent when we build our digipack?
It should be, yes. It should be consistent across everything. Where possible, in these days, your typography can be consistent across your website, your posters, brochures, everything. You might have more than one typeface. Sometimes you have what's known as a headline font, so the thing that you use for your main headlines, and then you might have something different for information. So for body copying, giving out information. So they don't have to be the same, but they have to have the same function.
What can we do to enhance continuity with imagery, for example, through shot sizes, angles, colour or lighting?
What can you do? Well, the way that you, so for example, I know you're going to, it may be that the way that you treat, you might have a special treatment for a photograph. You might say, I'm going to take whatever photograph it might be, and I'm going to turn up the blues, I'm going to make it really cool in colour. And that's the kind of style that I'm going to use for this brand, that's their style. Or I'm going to do something where there's a lot of white space around a product or an image. That's going to be my brand style for this product or this brand. So you can choose a particular treatment or style for an image, and then each time you use an image, you use that same sort of style throughout, and then it will enhance the brand. So, I mean, an obvious one, you know, some of the, if you remember when Apple did the iPhone and they used people dancing. So the theme that we used were bright coloured backgrounds and, you know, almost cutouts of people. The minute you saw that, you knew what it was. It was treated in a certain way. So yeah, that's the kind of thing you can do with imagery.
What advice would you give to us when we actually design our digipack?
Think first. Don't just start designing by drawing. Think about what you want to communicate, how you want to communicate it. Write your ideas down for it. Sketch it out. Don't jump onto a computer. Never jump onto a computer until you're really ready to execute. I think, you know, take your time and think about the message. Think about the visual. You can also do things which you call a sort of a visual story, a visual positioning board, where you collect things that you like. You know, like you use Pinterest for this. You know, collect the type of imagery that you like that seems to represent. So you create what's known as a mood board. And on that mood board, you'll have certain typefaces and colours and images, and you're trying to create a mood for what you're developing. If you do that first, it gives you a sense of where you want to take the final design. It's not to copy directly; it's just to give you to get the feeling right for your particular design.
How do you target your audiences for your branding designs?
How do I target audiences?
Decisions, sorry, not designs.
On what, sorry?
How do you target your audience for your branding decisions? So what decisions you make and how to target a specific audience?
I suppose again it's if you're trying to understand who your audience is, you try and understand the kind of things that they'd like and might buy. The kind of things that they might have in the pockets if you turn them out, the kind of music they might buy and associate with. So you're trying to work out again, I suppose, what makes them tick, both what they buy, what they think about, what they're interested in. All these kind of ideas can help inform the way that you communicate something. So if it's a certain age group, or you might, the language that you use might be completely different. Yeah.
That's thanks, Stephen. That's our list of questions. I'm just going to check in with the students and see if there's anything else. Is there anything else from what Ian said that you think, that would be really helpful to know? So we know about target audience. We know about the continuity.
Yeah, maybe like colours. Like with colours, is there like, do you have to like stay over like a certain number? Like, if it's over 3, is it too complicated?
Oh, okay. Did you hear that, Tony? Can you step in? A couple more questions. Thank you, Ian.
Okay.
In terms of the use of colours, do you think you can almost overload a digipack with too many colours, or do you think too many colours are good sometimes?
Again, it depends. It depends what you want to achieve. If you want to be, if you look at, if you get a few sort of CDs out and you look at the kind of music that it's up against, and you look at all the other packs and nobody's using colour in a really bright, bold way, then why not? You know, but and equally, if you want to create some standouts, distinctiveness within that sector, then choose something that's not being used. So I'm not against multicoloured if there's a purpose for it, if there's a reason for it. If it's just style for the sake of it, then you might want to rethink. But if multicoloured is how you want this brand to stand out, then go for it. Have a reason as to why you want it. Don't just choose it arbitrarily.
Can you ask if opposite to that is too little? So like one main colour, is that too little?
And then on the opposite, do you think having too little colours, such as just one colour throughout the digipack as a theme, is too little?
Different shades.
And different shades?
Same answer.
It would be.
Same answer. Depends. There's no. If things are carefully considered, there's absolutely no reason why one colour or multicoloured can't work. There's no right or wrong answer. It just depends on your design and what you want to, how you want it to stand out, how you want it to be different. Just think about it. Think about why you're choosing colour in the first place. Also, different colours. If you research colours, there's different meanings behind colours and why they're chosen, and emotionally what that colour might mean. So you can look at that, you can find all that stuff online, and if it fits with your brand, with your cover, then use it.
Ancillary tasks that you want to work with.
Not necessarily, no, not really.
In terms of using social media within our design, like showing where you can follow our band or whatever, is there a certain place you think you should put them in the digipack, in like the bottom right corner or something like that?
No idea. I don't know. I think it's becoming more and more important. Just make sure that it's clear, that it's visible. I don't like putting stuff like that on the front, not on an actual pack. But that's just a personal thing. But it's all about sort of if you're giving across information, just make sure it's not shouting too loud. You want it clear enough to someone can click on it and see it, but you don't want it to be. You don't want it to be too large, like bigger than the title and bigger than the band or whatever. So but there is no set place. So for example, your layout might use a sort of a centered approach. You might have an image in the center with a type over the top of it. Then you might have your link down at the bottom in the center. So you kind of follow a central groove, or you might follow it where everything's ranged. Everything's ranged to the left. So you then follow that principle. So depending on how you're laying it out, will depend on where you want to put it. But there isn't, in my mind, there isn't a hard and fast rule as to where it should go. Is that okay?
Yeah, Ian, that's absolutely brilliant. Do you want to summarise, is there any sort of real pearls of wisdom you can leave us with to summarise branding and wish us luck on our way?
I think that, I suppose to summarise, that I suppose there's a few things to think about. Make sure that it's relevant, or what you're doing is relevant to the audience. Make sure it's credible, that it makes sense, and make sure that it's differentiated. That it's different to something else that's out there. Otherwise, it will just blend in. So, if you follow those three sort of principles, they might just help.
That's absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.